Usually men don't bring flowers to rejected women. As a friendly gesture, even though she was happily married. He may have been trying to get into her pants and ignoring all the lovey-dovey stuff. He was making good progress at the moment. He was not going to quit soon, I knew. I was right, as my wife got home 2 days later than usual. She didn't tell me she was late until over 2 hours later. Because this was not the first time she would come home late, it gave her 2 calls which she ignored before making the decision to wait. However, she came at my place before I could make a 3rd call, and was visibly excited. My evening was wonderful. This was her first statement before she began describing how she showed Ivan the museum's location. After that, they want to try American pizza, which he had only seen in movies. They went for a walk, talked, and ate pizza, among other things I didn't care about. But I let her finish. Once she was done, I inquired, "Are you attracted to Ivan?" She seemed shocked and upset, and said that was her only attraction to me. Of course, she meant she wasn't interested in anyone else. That she was just trying to welcome a foreigner who had no friends or family to show him around and help him with any problems. All this didn't convince me. I told her she needed to break up with Ivan. That caused a major fight. It shouldn't. It may surprise you that she discussed being insecure, unfairness, stopping intimidation, and more. I kept my calm and didn't explode despite being annoyed. I refused to back down and urged her to cease doing extracurriculars with Ivan. He should have visited her cafe as he was a customer. However, things were supposed to end there. I told her to put herself in my shoes and imagine what she would do if a Serbian girl came to buy a bracelet and took her out for town walks and other things. I understand her claim, but we all know it's incorrect, right? I slept on the couch. In addition to the fact that no one is surprised, I have stopped hearing about Ivan and his drama, which has helped my mental health. To restate, I knew she would connect with him at her cafe, but there was a limit to what might happen there. I was happy that she seemed to come home at the same time every night. A random afternoon, I entered my wife's cafe and found her gone. This prompted me to become suspicious instantly. Ivan wasn't there, but I wasn't sure he would have been anyway, so it didn't matter. However, her absence was notable since it was rare. I considered waiting till she returned, or asking one of her staff members where she went. But I decided not to make a big deal out of it. As I returned to my car from the other side of the street, I saw her and Ivan approaching with their arms entwined. Although it took all my strength, I refrained from dashing across the street and punching the guy and cussing her. I stayed in the car, watched them enter the cafe, and drove away. They happened the day before yesterday, and I had trouble processing them. I planned to confront her when she got home, but I think knowing something the other person doesn't know is powerful. This will make it easier for me to spot and expose future lies. In this case, she described her day after returning home as relatively normal, unimpressive without travel mention. My reason for being here is that I don't know where Ivan is. Should I confront her directly or try to understand the situation first? I'm leaning toward the latter because I'm starting to think there's something going on inside my nose, and addressing her could resolve any possibilities of finding out the truth. Give me your opinions when you can. To anyone it may concern, I was mentioned in the earlier post about the Serbian man and the cafe lady. Okay, I'm back with important news. Lots that Let's discuss what was found. Getting the guts to do it took time. I eventually realized I had to learn the truth, regardless of the repercussions. I've never smiled at the prospect of checking your partner's phone, but I felt I had to do it in this case, despite my moral issues. So I took advantage of the first opportunity when she was sleeping. As expected, she had Ivan in her messaging app and had been messaging a lot. WhatsApp made it easy to export the entire chat to a text file. I sent this from her phone to mine. It goes, without admitting I removed the proof. I found a couple photos of them smiling in public in her portfolio, but they weren't incriminating. Also, I sent them to my phone. Again, deleted evidence was eliminated. I restored her phone to its rightful position after 5 minutes. After that, I finished all the reading on my phone, which reduced suspicion. Waking up unexpectedly. In addition, I saw things that made my head spin. I've provided a transcript of a revolting part of the conversation for your convenience. The conversation had shifted to a book my wife had recommended, Call My Wife Clarice, instead of her true name. Throughout the story, the key characters. She told me he came in the next day and talked for a while. Nothing else was planned for the day. She said he was Serbian and a car salesman. However, he moved to the US for a better life. It took him a while to regain his bearings and understand his situation. He looked for work at local dealerships because he was the best at what he did. 10 minutes later, I saw he was tall, blonde, handsome, and well-dressed. I can't say I regret it properly. It's hot because it's wrong. Yes, and I pray this never ends. It drove me insane. 2 in the morning. I went for a walk outside the home because I couldn't follow her. In those situations, I would have done something insane. I was almost certain, I think I explored the town aimlessly for 5 hours, but I returned at 3 in the morning. Like her, she slept. Do you know how it feels to be cheated on and to have your wife mock you? Honestly enjoying doing everything behind your back? Indeed she was, and it drove me over the edge. It wasn't like dishonesty would be pardoned. I found her sleeping when I returned. Because of this, I seized her phone, skipped ahead to the moment in her chat with Ivan, and filmed it. I must stress that there is no medical intervention. It was disgusting that I had to be a victim, even if Clarice clearly felt like she was living out one of her foolish books. I doubt she knows. Divorce is underway. This can only end one way. I must also witness her fall. Like Ivan, I want him gone. How I'll do this is unknown, but I need both. I need them to be excruciatingly painful. Latest developments too. The assignment was accomplished well. Ivan, a Serbian man, and Clarice, his bookworm and con artist wife, end their adventure here. They were ignorant that they should have been much more concerned about me in this situation. Allow me to bypass boring parts of the story. I parked an Uber across the street from Clarice's workplace one day. I was there when the process server entered the cafe and gave her the divorce papers in public. We exited the car, which was satisfying. I had a great day at work, and Clarice never left a note or missed a call, which I found impressive. Satisfying. She knew she had been duped, and that appealing with her would not help. I saw it that way. The next night, she returned with tears. No torrent of it came out her nose. She looked completely messed up. I felt gloomy seeing her in that manner, and I blamed it on the shards of love remaining there. It didn't last long. She kept asking about her mistakes. Was it Ivan? I understood she didn't know my extent of expertise. Before she could find out what I knew, she probably tried to figure out if her operation had leaks. I wasn't sure if telling her about Ivan would be better, but I committed to her. Not much else, but I told her. I saw her and we walked hand in hand that day. I hid it from her. She suddenly became confident and begged me while calling me stupid. This happened simultaneously. That was no reason to divorce her, she believed. Continued visiting him was a mistake. However, they were not interacting, and I felt insecure. I was jealous. She seemed unable to choose to insult or grovel before me. I told her to leave my house, and she did. Here, divorce begins. That aspect was fun for me. Since I have more money than she does, I have more to lose in a divorce. However, I made sure to spend more money on good lawyers because I have more money. Be sure to hire a good divorce lawyer. I promise it was worth it because I had many photos of the two of them after voicing my worries. I had text conversations that prove my infidelity. Promise, it's worth it. My superstar lawyer found Ivan-related activities in her joint account. Ivan was responsible for these transactions. He was able to link transaction dates to days he thanked her using the entire text message transcript. It was clear she was wasting our money on her Serbian lover. The attorney conveyed her as a goldmine well. Digger was interesting to watch. She tried hard, but I didn't notice anything. I'm not flawless, but I don't have any flaws that would cause a divorce. I had all I needed when the divorce was official. I kept my house and car. I was not required to pay alimony because I gave her a profitable business opportunity and committed a major adultery. I love you, Judge. She kept the automobile I bought her. That wasn't something I needed to worry about. In addition, her refusal to quit the divorce, being assetless, helped me accept what I was given. This is my favorite part. Retaliating against Ivan was difficult. The task was immense. He left the cafe later. He continued down the road and around its turn, while I followed. In addition to presenting myself, I hit him in the jaw. Despite the pain, I broke his lip and knocked him down. He looked stunned. While I wasn't looking for a street fight, I would have taken one if provided. Since he got up and left, I think he came to that he had no moral high ground on this subject. A pleasant experience. He knew he was bothering a married woman, so I wish I could have done more. But it was enough for me, and probably the most I could have gotten without getting charged with a felony. Next, Clarice. Can you recall the rent I paid for her? She had her cafe in a nice neighborhood, therefore it was pricey. It was usually due on the 1st of May, but she called me crying toward the end of May to say she needed to pay the cafe rent but didn't have the money. After many pleadings, I told her she would have to sell the car to pay for it before hanging up. She contacted me several times that week. She called, but I didn't answer. Spoilery alert. I discovered she had sold the automobile when she contacted me to curse me out. She lamented that I couldn't aid her at her lowest point. I told her it was terrible to consider cheating on me fun and exciting, and that left her speechless. I'll check on her rent in May next year. She will lose the cafe if the gods have their way, especially since she can't use my business bookkeeping anymore. It was enjoyable. To be honest, I'm single and successful and happy. Divorce, betrayal, and infidelity caused a lot of suffering, but you can only move on, right? I'll employ that method. I want to thank you everyone for staying and for your support and advice. I am deeply appreciative. I hope I never have to write another post. Good day. I divorced my wife because she cheated on me and left me, later saying she did it for fun. However, she returned and asked for help, so I did. My wife and I have been married 12 years. We agree that we married young. At the time, it made sense to both of us, even if she was young. We decided enough was enough after dating for almost a year and a half. We knew we were meant to be together yet. This may not have been the case due to previous developments. I have a fantastic work and always have something to be proud of. The jewelry business my brothers and I started was built from scratch. I am always proud of our tremendously profitable results. While doing business with family can be difficult, it's been a dream come true for us. You may have a different experience than we did because we never fought. However, my wife built a nice cafe where people could get pastries, coffee, and literature. She proudly displays her love of reading, which she has always had. I was annoyed by them before meeting her. Unfortunately, I'm hypocritical. Snap at me. I was fascinated by the idea since I wanted to show my support for her. Thus, I helped her pay the cafe's rent. Despite the high investment, the fact that the firm is succeeding, at least without rent, made me smile because it is in an elite neighborhood. I think you need that background now. At this point, story starts. She informed me of a new man who entered the cafe in March. I think she did this around then. She said he was handsome. As a confident person, I found that the two of us can debate another's appearance objectively without it becoming a problem. However, her continual talk about this person seemed odd. He was rumored to be a macho hero, something women like to read and smut. She likes similar books too. That type of woman who always talks about books seems to be, and I'll never understand why since it's the cheesiest romance that gets them going. She talked about this guy for a while before it stopped, but I'll admit that her words were almost identical to those she used to talk about the cold, Russian hitman who fell in love with a woman in their apartment building's laundry room. I didn't make that up. The passage comes from a book she loves, called Clarice and Me. I thought the same thing. A huge, interesting hunk and an artistic young lady torn between him and her boyfriend were involved. Immediately after, a message, and lots of seductive sexual situations. That part recalls us both. Sex is usually fun, but in your case, it's a husband. A stupid chuckle emoji followed. Clarice's hilarious emoticons. I think this makes it more intriguing and fun. Strangely paradoxical. I never cheated. Spoke had an accent. I also liked his outfit. He loved fantasy books like The Lord of the Rings and Wild West stories. She often chats to me about her cafe's customers, but again, she used a flowery phrase. She seemed almost fetishistic toward him. He was clearly still a regular at her cafe, and it made me feel better that he no longer deserved lawn pours every evening. She stopped discussing him since he wasn't novel anymore. I even visited her cafe one afternoon to offer her lunch, and I saw a man in the corner who fit the description. I was sure it was him, and he was really gorgeous. She thought his name was Ivan. Things start to change around this moment. One night, she came home with a funny smile, and I asked her what was up. She said Ivan walked her home and talked about literature on the way, even though she said he asked her to go. She told him on a date that she was married and could not meet his desire. She apologized and held my hand before saying goodbye and ending our conversation. When I asked her why she was smiling so much, she said it was like a book. I asked her why she was beaming. It appeared like she was romanticizing every interaction with Ivan when chatting to him, which angered me. Due to his customer status, I was ignorant of such. Our cafe. It was inevitable that they would keep in touch. She could have told him she was single, but I didn't want to appear insecure. Therefore, again, despite my feelings, I thought it wasn't worth discussing. Do you think I only needed to overcome my feelings? I discovered this was not true when my wife brought a bunch of flowers home a week later. She promptly vased the flowers. This was when I understood it wasn't true. She said Ivan gave it to her as a gift. Nothing special. He claimed to have bought many furry coworkers. He works, incidentally. Her birthday fell on that day. Since he sees how hard I work, he wanted to get me some. She was trying to act like a little girl who couldn't understand being appreciated, so my brain started to heat up. I asked if she saw Ivan's fondness for her. Even while she thought the flowers were a sweet gesture, she said it was obvious, especially after he asked her out. That confused me because if you